Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today we are deciding my October TBR. I was so ready to sit down in this video and be like, I'm not going to have any plan this month for my TBR. I'm just going to pick books randomly off my shelf and see what we get. But then I remembered that I don't like doing that and I'd love to have a plan. So instead, we're scrapping that idea. And basically this month we're focusing on scary books because of course it's October and I like to really mark the seasons any way I can. And I want to try challenge myself to read some really scary books this month. I don't often read too scary things. I'm not like super into horror, but I am much better reading scary things than I am watching scary things. I am a huge wimp when it comes to movies. Like I cannot do horror movies or even like very sad or very tense movies. With books though, I do actually really like horror sometimes, like a little bit of a dash of horror along with thriller or psychological drama, something like that is so fun. So I'm going to try and find some really scary books to read this month. And I'm also going to be choosing a bunch of books from my TBR jar as well. I made this a couple of months ago and it's been a success so far. I picked two books from it last month. This month I'm going to pick four randomized books from my TBR jar. Then I'm going to have four more scary books that I'm going to read. I'm going to pick four books just randomly from my shelf that I want to read, and then I think I have four other books that I kind of have to read for book clubs or that kind of thing. Like that's another category that we've got. So I know that sounds like a lot of books, but I do usually read at least 15 books in a month, and last month I read 18. And so my rule for my TBR is that I'm allowed to have a TBR as long as the books that I read in the last month. So because I read 18 books last month, I'm allowed to put 18 books on my TBR this month. That kind of sounds psychotic and I don't care. It's going to be fun. So basically, I think we'll start this video actually with doing the TBR jar because I'm sitting right here and I'm really nervous about picking books from this. So I'm going to start the video by picking out four different books from my TBR jar. Have I already forgotten what the color coding means? Absolutely yes. It does have different genres. I'm going to try and pick at least three. Wait, how many different colors are there in there? There's four different colors. So maybe I'll read one. I'll try and pick like one color each because that's four different genres. But we'll just see what happens. I'm just going to go in and I'm going to grab and we're going to get this video started. So I'm picking four from here. I don't like bend all of them. They're really jam-packed in here. Maybe I'll go on from the edge actually. Last time I just did one like from the bottom. Okay, try not to look. You can look though. This one. Right, we're going for this. Oh my god, there's so many stuck together. I went for this one. You ready? Oh, it's a non-fiction. So this is ADH and D by Jordan Stevens. So let me grab the book. So this is the book that I have got for this first prompt. This is actually a proof copy. This came out in August and it's Avoidance, Drugs, Heartbreak and Dogs, and it is Jordan Stevens's kind of autobiography memoir book. And I've actually heard that this is really, really good. And when I heard him talking about this book at the launch, he was speaking really eloquently all about like mental health and like living as a man in the patriarchy, and he just was a great speaker, so I can imagine he'll be a great writer as well. So that is our first book that I'm doing for the month of October. Very, very exciting. Should we pick our next prompt? Okay, I'm not gonna do, actually I'm just gonna pick them randomly because I feel like if I get another non-fiction, that'd be like a bit annoying, but I don't actually have that many non-fiction, so okay. Oh, okay, we're doing this blue one. They're all stuck together because of sticky notes. Okay, I can't remember. Oh, that's two together. Which one do I go for? I'm going for this one. Oh god, I can't remember what blue was. Is it classics? God, I hope it's not really long, really like complicated classic. I'm so nervous. Okay, it is The Fruit of the Dead. That's one I've been meaning to read. Oh, okay. This is by Rachel Leon. Let me get the book. Okay, here is the next book that I'm going to be reading in October. I'm really glad that this prompted me to read this one because I've had this sitting around for a while now and I have not managed to pick it up. So I'm really excited about it. And so what I think this is, it's a like modern day retelling of the myth of Persephone and Demeter, but it's set actually at like a American summer camp, and I think someone's previously said that it's kind of got the vibes of like a White Lotus, so maybe this is kind of perfect for October. It's described as a gripping literary thriller. I feel like this might have some like kind of like cool, creepy vibes in this. A dark examination of agency and power and the complexity of a mother-daughter bond. I think this is going to be so good. Oh yeah, someone said it's like ancient Greece meets Succession. Okay, so we have the first 2 books that we're going to be reading in October. I'm very excited about both of those actually, and neither of them are being like, you know, like thing I'm going to force myself to read at all. So, okay, we've done 2 so far. We've done a green and we've done like a yellowy green and we've done a blue. Let me try and pick out a pink. I'm just going to pick like this pink that I can see in the top. I don't remember what the things are. What would pink be? It's fantasy! Yes, this is perfect for October! I literally just spat in the camera. I'm so sorry if you saw that. This is perfect for October. It's Hellbent by Leigh Bardugo. Let me grab it. I've literally been searching my shelf and I can't find it. I literally cannot find this book. I swear I owned it. What? Why would I have it in here if I don't own the book? What is happening? Okay, I don't know if I can read that book this month because I can't find it on my shelf. This is my TBR, so it wouldn't be anywhere else. And I've even checked behind the books to see if it's like fallen down somewhere. And then I'm like, when's the last time I saw it? And I was like, have I ever seen it? Do I own this book? And now I'm really, really confused. I have no idea if I have this book or not. Either way, I want to read it and I'm going to read it. I'm going to read Hellbent this month. So I'm either going to have to go out and buy it and read it, or I'll read it on my Kindle, or I'll find it because what? Where's it gone? That's so weird. Anyway, it's the second book in a series. The first book in the series is Ninth House, and I read it years ago and I absolutely loved it. It's dark academia, but with a heavy fantasy leaning on it. And it's about this girl, and she basically works at Yale. She got the chance to go to Yale after something very traumatic happened to her in her life. And her job in Yale is to kind of police the different secret societies that are going on at Yale, like these magical secret societies. And that's just the tiny drop in the ocean of what the book's about, because it's it was really fun when I read it. I really, really enjoyed it. So that is the first book, Ninth House. And then Hellbent is the very long awaited sequel that I've not read yet, that I thought I owned, and I cannot find it. So what am I going to do about that? I don't know. Let's pick another book. This is the 4th and final from the TBR jar, but I might pick another book because I want to have a stack of 4 books, and I don't know what I've done with that one. Okay, what colour have we not had yet? We've not had this pale orange colour. I'm gonna pick this one, but I'm worried because I think this is classic, and that's why there's not many of them. Oh, okay, we have to do it. We have to do whatever it is. Okay, that's okay. Independent people. I need to read this on my Reading Around the World challenge, so let me grab this book. I do own it this time, which is great. I got this one, this copy cheap from a Waterstones recently because it was cut up, but I don't mind. It doesn't affect the words on the inside. So this is the book that I was going to read for my Reading Around the World challenge for Iceland, I believe. Yeah, it's one of the greatest Icelandic novels ever, and I think it's about this sheep farmer man, and he lives a world of isolation and self-sufficiency, but his family, and especially his daughter, is an incredibly stubborn person as well. And I think it's kind of them two butting heads and being very independent people, but I don't know much else what it's about. This author has won the Nobel Prize for Literature, so that is just incredible, and very excited to read this one. Not quite October themed, except for that it's kind of probably based in a very cold climate and it's getting colder. I don't know, but that's kind of fun. I might pick one more because I think I'm gonna have to get Hellbent on my Kindle, so that doesn't really count anyway. I'll put that in a different category for this video. I don't know if this is making sense, but it's making sense in my head. So let's dive in for the last time and get the last book. This one. Another pink. I'm so glad. I'm secretly so glad it's pink because I really wanted a fantasy. Okay, the book is Terry Pratchett. Any Terry Pratchett. Okay, that's really nice and cozy actually for October too, so I'm pleased about that. Let me just check where I'm up to with Terry Pratchett and what the next one would be that would make sense for me to read. So these are Discworld books, by the way, and I've read about 4 of them, I think. Colour of Magic, The Light Fantastic, Equal Rights, Mort, and Sorcery. I've read all of those. Have I read Weird Sisters? No. Do I own Weird Sisters? Or Pyramids could be a good option. Let me check. Okay, Weird Sisters it is, because this is the next one in the Witches books. I think I've only read the first one in the Witches. This is going to be so fun. This really gives me October vibes as well, actually. This is kind of perfect. So this is a Discworld novel, and this is the, I think, second in the like mini collection of the Witches books. These books are so much fun. They are absolutely bonkers. Like, they are just so hilariously, whimsically weird and written really well. The characters are just absolutely insane and the plots are really funny. They're completely transportive. They're like true cozy fantasy, but like also like kind of nuts. And I absolutely love Terry Pratchett. So this is gonna be a great book. I'm so glad that I picked out a fourth and final book, because that is actually such a good little stack for October. Like, we've got like the wintry vibe, we've got like literary thriller vibe. You know, this one doesn't quite make sense for October, that's fine. And then we've got the Witches from Terry Pratchett. So thank you so much to the TBR jar. That has absolutely done me a beautiful job there. And I'm not like worried or concerned about any of them. This one, maybe slightly, just because it's quite chunky. Let's see how long it is. I'm a little bit worried about. Okay, it is, it's like 560 pages. It's okay. I read like loads of really long books last month and that was fine. So maybe I'll tell you now a little bit about the other 4 books that I kind of have to read for like book clubs and that kind of thing, and like other challenges that I'm doing. I don't actually own many of them physically. So firstly, we have the Reading Around the World book club. So for the book club that I host over on Fable, the Reading Around the World book club, we read a different book from a different country every single month. For the month of October, we are reading Bahrain, and we are going to be reading a short story. So this is only 30 pages long and it's called The Pearl Thief. This is the only book that I could find that was like very easily accessible, that was written by someone from Bahrain and also set in the country. So that's why we're reading this book. It's about a man who is living in poverty, and he decides, like, as a desperate measure to try and become a pearl diver, for which you have to dive down and kind of like swim to the bottom of the ocean, and he can't even swim. So we're going to see what's going to happen to this man in the like very short story that we're going to be reading. If you want to join, there's always a link in the description and it's very fun. You can read along every single month, or you don't have to if you want. I'll be putting up another poll in a couple of weeks to see which country we'll be reading for in the next month as well, so good time to join now. Next up, we have 3 books that I'm already reading, so these are going to have to go on the TBR because I'm already reading them and they're like carrying over from last month. So number 1, we have Debt. This book I've been reading for a long time. It actually got returned to the library and I've just got it back now. I'm about a quarter of the way through. I'm like 25% through on my library copy. This book is so interesting, but it's very, very dense, and I do like to challenge myself every now and again. This book is all about debt and money and kind of the creation of money, and it is basically all about the system of debt and like the history of it for the last 5,000 years. And it's giving you kind of this history of the economy, and it's very, very interesting. There's lots of like really interesting stories in it as well, tales to like illustrate the point that the author's making. And I really enjoy like the actual theory that the author's got all about debt and money, and it like really rings true for a lot of what I believe in economics and economic theory anyway. So this is something I'm reading. It's gonna be slow going, but hopefully I'll finish it this month because I can't be asked to keep getting it back from the library. Next up, also that I was reading last month that I'm carrying over again, is the Empyseum. And this is by the author of the book that I really loved, Drive Your Plow Over the Bones of the Dead, and this is her most recent book, so it's just come out last month. And this book I'm about 20% through as well, and it's already predictably like very, very strange, just like what I've come to expect from this author. And basically it is about this young man, and he is going to this health resort because he's got tuberculosis and he's trying to get a cure for himself. And there is this specific kind of health resort that's set in this basin in the mountains, and the air is supposed to be really good for people with any kind of lung condition. So he goes and stays there, and there is also a lot of other men of like varying ages and like places in life, and they are also there trying to recover tuberculosis. And it's very strange so far. It's very eerie. The narrator voice kind of like zooms in and out. Also, the subtitle for this book is that it is a health resort horror novel, which I think is just like so intriguing, and I'm really excited. So also another good pick for October because it's saying it's going to be a horror book. Nothing too horrifying has happened yet, apart from there has been a death, and like the creepiness
aspect is really like ramping up a bit, so I'm really enjoying it, but I'm only 20% through. And then the other book that I've been reading from last month that I just recently started, I've been reading Black Leopard Red Wolf, and I always get this book the wrong way around. I always say like Red Leopard. Black Leopard Red Wolf, and this is a book that I decided to read. It was like hugely hyped back in like 2019, I think. I never read it at the time because I heard that it was like incredibly brutal. I've recently seen it again, and because I was looking for books to count for my Reading Around the World challenge for Jamaica, and so the author himself is Jamaican, but this book itself is set in a fantastical world where there is like a North Kingdom and a South Kingdom like kind of fighting against each other. This book is so different to how I was expecting it to be. It's kind of described as this quest story of this main character who is going to find a boy. He's like a mercenary that's like been hired to find this boy. And actually I'm about 20% through this book now. The whole first 20% has actually been quite a deep exploration of like gender identity and sexuality and coming of age. It's very brutal, and like the main character is telling this story while he's in prison currently, and there is a lot of like very dark themes. There's a lot of trigger warnings, but I was actually expecting it to be so different. Like if I just read the list of trigger warnings, I would have not picked this book up at all. But now I've read it, like it's kind of all really there for a reason. It doesn't feel gratuitous. I don't know, like I'll see how I feel about the end of this book. It is incredibly confusing though. Like the story from one sentence to the next, like often they don't connect to each other, and like the author and the main character himself are like on purpose trying to keep you from understanding what he's talking about. But anyway, I'll talk more about this book in my wrap up, but that's the last one that I'm adding to this list. So let's go over to Notion and write down all the books that we've got currently so far so I keep track of everything. So this is where I do my TBRs. This is my September one. We did pretty well. I didn't get around to doing Manacled. I should probably put that on the list for this month actually. Basically this is my October TBR thus far. We've got The Pearl Thief for the book club, last month's books here, and then one from NetGalley that I need to read as well that I'll grab in a second. But let's add in the ones from the TBR jar. So by Rachel Lyon, independent, full, Weird Sisters. They've already got quite the selection here, but we do have some space. I'm gonna put Hellbent there just to make this like kind of make more sense to me, because I definitely want to read it, and I think it counts in the like scary creepy books vibe. Okay, so I think while I'm sitting here on my computer, I'm gonna do a little search on my Goodreads and pick out some scary books, some scary ones. Let's find some things that are creepy. Oh, okay, so I've actually got quite a lot of ones from T. Kingfisher, and I have her on my shelf as well. And another Mona Awad one as well that I didn't realise was creepy scary. But I've just read a Goodreads article saying these ones are the top like horror novels of the last 5 years. Those two books were on that list and I've got them on my shelf, so let's grab them. We've got these two, What Moves the Dead, T. Kingfisher, and All's Well by Mona Awad. I would have picked this one anyway, I think, even if it wasn't on that list. This one by T. Kingfisher, who I think is one of my favourite authors, by the way, is actually a retelling of the Edgar Allan Poe's classic, The Fall of the House of Usher. So I'm really excited about this one. It's also a tiny short novel, and it's apparently really creepy and really terrifying, so I'm really excited. That one's definitely going on the stack. And then there's All's Well, that I didn't realise was a horror book, to be honest, at all. This one I thought was all about kind of chronic pain, but I should have known better for Mona Awad. Like, she wrote Bunny and she also wrote Rouge. Both of those were like had big horror elements in them as well. But yeah, this is about a woman who's got chronic back pain. She's really reliant on painkillers, and she's trying to put on a production of Shakespeare's All's Well That Ends Well. So I feel like this is going to be really creepy as well and really fun, and this is a good excuse to read this one as well. Oh my god, I'm literally so blind. I've just seen that Hellbent is right there. It's right there on my shelf. Like, I can't zoom in. It's literally just sitting right there. How did I miss that? That is so embarrassing. Anyway, let's grab it. Okay, so this one's obviously going on the stack as well. It was already on there, but I've already told you about this one. This is Hellbent. It's a very cool copy with the red pages, and this is an incredibly creepy book as well. What a fool I am. Okay, we need one more scary book as well. I'm gonna have a look, and it's not necessarily, it doesn't have to be on my shelves because I can get it on Kindle, but I want to read something that is like very creepy. Okay, I've just been scrolling through my books that I want to read, and I do have another one on my shelf that I definitely think fits with this. Hold on. Have you ever seen anything more October in all your life? Interview with a Vampire by Anne Rice. I've been wanting to read this for ages. I feel like this is the perfect time. It goes really well with my theme of creepy kind of books. I really want to watch the TV show, or is it the movie? Whatever new adaptions just come out that everyone's raving about, I really want to watch that. But I always want to read things first. So this is also going on the stack. As far as I know, this is an interview with a vampire. That's all I know about this book. That's literally the only thing I know. I really love this old, like, very campy cover that's so fun. So that's the last one going on the stack from the 4, like, creepy books vibes. Okay, so this is the stack so far, physical stack, plus the ones that I mentioned before. I reckon I'm going to go on my shelf and pull out a few more. Not creepy, scary ones, just ones that I want to read in the month. So let's do that. I will definitely need some like palette cleansers between this. So I need to pick up some stuff that's like very different vibes to these as well. Although I'm glad that we've got like the non-fiction on there to like break this up. I've already got literary on there. We're like kind of set for fantasy. We're definitely set for horror, but let's pick up some other ones. All right, it's a bit dark in here now, but I'm bringing you along with me. We've already taken a few from this section. This is where Terry Pratchett lives, and also I had Interview with the Vampire down here. I could carry on with the series, these two, or start a new series. Let's see what else there is. This definitely gives October vibes. What else do we have? Oh, this does too. But I'm kind of looking for palette cleansers at the minute. Oh no, I need to read this. Oh my god. This is Jonathan Strange and Mr. Nora. And I've told myself I'll read this by the end of the year. And I feel like if I don't pick it up in October, I'm not going to be able to do it by the end of the year because it is so incredibly long. But I'm convinced it's going to be a new favourite of mine. So I do think I need to add this to this ever-growing stack. It's always good to have a challenge one on there, you know? Actually, I really want to get back onto my Ursula K. Le Guin game and read this one because I recommended a book by her recently in a video and I realised I just need to be reading more books by this author. The Left Hand of Darkness I absolutely loved, so I'm really excited to read The Dispossessed. This I think will be a nice palette cleanser from some of the other books this month, and I want to read it, so it's going on there. The issue is there's just too many that are giving me this vibe, like, oh my god, I really want to read that. Like when these are like witchy books, I want to read that. Oh, there's too many. Okay, I'm gonna make it easy for myself and pick up some books that I think I can read like pretty quickly and that I just want to like knock off. This one is like my lowest rated book on Goodreads for some reason, and I'm just really curious. I feel like I want to read it. So this is also going on the stack. I feel like it's a good, you know, it'll add something different to the rest of this stack, I think. I haven't even looked at this stack. I've completely ignored it. Oh no, I really want to read this. It's like a short story collection by Naomi Novik, who I love. I think I might have to get this one out and have that be my last pick. Because also look how stunning this book is. I'm obsessed. This has got stories from the Scholomance series and also her other books as well. So I just think I'm going to be obsessed, and this is going to go on the stack. I mean, the final book. Okay, that is an excessive stack that is about to fall. Oh dear. Okay, the sun is going down. My voice is disappearing. This is the second video I filmed today. And we are going to go through every single book that I've got on my October TBR. Apparently this is my like favourite month to do a TBR for because there were so many good options. So in addition to The Pearl Thief, Debt, The Empyseum, Black Leopard, Red Wolf, Manacled. Oh, and I had one on NetGalley that I needed to show you. Oh, okay, this is another book I'm adding. The other book that I wanted to get to that I've had just kicking around for ages that I really want to read is Any Human Power. This I've got on NetGalley, and also I've got sent a physical copy, so I really want to get to it because otherwise I won't. If I don't prioritize it now, I won't get to it. I've heard really, really good things about this one, and also it seems like very strange. And this is all about 3 different generations and a global uprising that's happening. I think it's to do with kind of like technology and politics, but it's like one of those thriller books that doesn't really tell you fully what it's about on the outside, which I'm kind of into. So that is going to be also the book that I'm reading this month. So that's the first one that we'll talk about, Any Human Power. And then the next one that I decided to pick up was ADHD, or like Avoidance, Drugs, Heartbreak and Dogs by Jordan Stevens, who is, by the way, of Rizzle Kicks fame, but I've already explained this one a little bit as well. Next up we have Fruit of the Dead, which has probably my favourite cover apart from this one, a literary thriller book. Next up we have Independent People. This is going to be my classic for this month and also a good one for my Reading Around the World challenge. And then we have the next Terry Pratchett that I'm reading. I think this might be potentially my favourite. A lot of people really love this one who also like the books that I like from Terry Pratchett. And then we have Hellbent, that was just completely elusive to me for no reason. It was right on my shelf, just right where I left it. Can't believe. That's probably why I haven't read it, because my eyes just kept skipping over it for some reason. So we are reading Hellbent as well. And we are also reading All's Well. I feel like this time of year is great for Mona Awad's books in general, and also T. Kingfisher. I'm tempted to read even more T. Kingfisher this month, but we're starting with this one because I've already got it on my shelf. And then the last kind of spooky book that I'm picking up is Interview with a Vampire, that I'm also really excited for. And then those last four that I picked up we have Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell. This book is dense, like it's actually heavy to lift honestly. Like I think I might have to like listen to an audiobook, because that is like heavier than a normal book. Like it's heavier than this one. It's way heavier than this like hardback. Anyway, and then the next one is the short story collection by Naomi Novik. I'm really excited about this one, and this is coming out. When is this coming out? This is coming out, oh, this has come out already. This came out on the 17th of September. And we have the Pisces. I don't know why I'm throwing this one in. I just am. It's just been on my shelf for ages and I'm really curious about why people hate it so much, so that's the one I'm doing there. And then we also have The Dispossessed. This one I'm throwing in there because I want to be like sure of like a potential like 5-star read, and I feel like out of them all, actually these two have the highest potential to be 5-star reads for me and like maybe new favorites. So I always want to throw something in there that I think I'm going to absolutely love as well. So those are all the books that I'm going to be reading in October. Wish me luck. Feels like even more than usual. But I'm going to have to like quite strictly stick to this list, I think, because normally I do a shorter list and then I'm like more flexible with like adding books to it. But I'm going to have to be pretty good and stick to this list. So we shall see. Hopefully I can get some audiobooks from the library to help me kind of crack through this. But please let me know what you think of this list, if you think that any of these are amazing or your favourite books. And also tell me one thing that you're planning on reading in October. Are you doing any read-alongs? Are you doing any challenges? Are you going to read scary books? Please let me know. Also make sure you like this video. It really helps me out. And make sure you're subscribed as well if you're not already. And also you could click the notification bell so you get notified whenever I post. So that is all from me today. Thank you so much for watching and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye!